Hello, welcome to this video. Here, my main focus is to look at equations which have a multiple inside here, either multiple or just addition or subtraction. How do we solve these type of equations here? But first, let us remind ourselves, what if there was no multiple here? For example, it was just, say, the sine of theta equals to a half, when theta is between, say, 0 and 360. How do you solve this equation here? Just a normal taking of the inverse. So you have sine inverse of a half, and you have the angle here as equal to 30 degrees. Whichever method you use, whether the graph or the circle, if I can use the cast diagram over here, you see that you have all students take coffee. I have my first angle here at 30. It is positive, the sign is positive, so the other angle is over here. We say they have the same base angle, 30, and the other angle, this angle is going to be 150. So you have two angles. The only difference between this question here and this one over here in the way of solving it is just because in this type of question, this is 2. But we go through the same routine of solving it. What do we mean here? So how do you solve this? So sine of 2 theta equals to 0. That means we're going to take the inverse. What you're getting here is the 2 theta. So 2 theta equals the sine inverse of 0. So when you get the sine inverse of 0, so you have 2 theta as equal to 0. Then when you look for other multiple angles, we have 180. You can use the graph or you can use the circle over here. So this angle is 0 over here. It has a sine of 0. And also the next angle is over here, which is equal to 180. So the angles are going to keep on repeating. They're going to keep on repeating. So we have 180, we have 360. But this is a value of 2 theta. We need to get the value of theta. So theta is going to be 0 divided by 2, 180 divided by 2, 360 divided by 2, and so on. But you can see they said our final answer should be between 0 and 360. So when we divide by 2 here, the first angle is 0, you have 90, you have 180. So our answer, we haven't exhausted all the answers. That means we have to go back over here on the 2x and write all the answers possible. Then we keep on dividing. So from 360, we go another round. So this is 0, 360. Then you go again to get another angle here, which is 540. And then you come again, which is equal to 720. So that means you have 540 divided by 2 and 720 divided by 2. So you have your answer as 270 and 360. All right, for this one here is tan over half theta equals to negative 1 over root 2. And you also want to find this one here when theta is between 0 and 360. So the same thing here. All we need to do is take the tan inverse, so a half of theta, because this is a tan over half of theta, like as if it was just tan x. If it was just tan of x equals negative 1 over root 3, then our x is equal to the tan inverse of negative 1 over root 3. But in this scenario here, instead of having x, we have half of theta. That's what we have. That means half of theta is equal to the tan inverse of negative 1 over root 3. That means half of theta is equal to, when you press your calculator, you find out that the angle is negative 30 degrees. So you try to find the other angles that correspond to negative 30. I always want to use this cast diagram, which says all students take coffee. The first angle is negative 30. You can see negative 30 is going to be over here. That's where negative 30 is. Because the tan of the graph is negative, that means we expect the other angle to be over here. So if it is negative 30, That means this angle is going to be 150. So I have two angles, I have -30, but remember the range here is only for positive angles. That means -30 just my working value, but I have the positive angles here. I have 150, and when you get the positive angle of -30, it's going to be 330. How do I get that? Because it's 360 minus 30. So you have 300 and what? And so these are the angles. But what you're going to do here, this is half of theta, but you're looking for theta. So theta is equal to 150 times 2, 330 times 2. You can say theta is equal to 300. This one is 660, but this is out of the range. Remember, the range is just from 0 to 360. So I don't need this answer here. Right? So my final answer is only 300. Let us try one more question here. So we cannot, in this scenario here, we cannot take the sine inverse when sine is on the subject of the equation. So these two here is interfering the sine to be the subject of the equation. So we move 2 on the other side. So we have sine of theta minus 20 is equal to 1/2. That means all of this is like the x that we're looking for is like the x. So that means I have theta minus 20 as equal the sine inverse over half. Because all of it is the same, all of it, the x, all of it, you're calling x, the theta minus the sine of that is a half. So theta minus 20 is equal to sine inverse of over half. So theta minus 20 is equal to the sine inverse is 30. If you have these ones in your head or you have the diagram in your head, you can get it quickly here. So you have the angle here. All students take coffee. I have the first angle here is 30. So 30 is over here. And this is a sine and it's positive. So the other angle is over here, which is going to be 150. So the other angle is 150. Then I can go ahead and look for theta. How do you find theta? Theta is going to be equal to 30 plus 20, and then 150 plus 20. And you can see the answers here. We have here as 50, and then what you have here is 170. Only those answers. Why wouldn't we go ahead and find more values here? Because you're going to add 20, the next value you're going to get is going to be above 30, which is going to be 390. When you add 20, the value is already above 360, so we don't waste time to get other values. That's why this one here is just enough. Let us look at this one here. The same thing here, we are taking the cos inverse. So the cos of all of this is a half. That means 3x plus 60 degrees is equal to the cos inverse of a half. So what you have here, 3x plus 60 degrees is equal to 60. But you know what you're going to do? How we find the value of x? We are going to subtract 60 and divide by 3. That means we should find other angles first before we do anything. And the range is between -90 and 90. So the first angle was 60. Oh, but something you forgot. All students take coffee. So the cos is positive. So if one angle is here, the other angle is over here. They all make the angle 60 on the base. Right, so if the 60, the negative one, you have negative 60. What about the positive one of this? The positive one of this is going to be 300. And the negative of this side is going to be negative 300 as well. So you have 60, 300. You also have negative 60. You also have negative 300. So the question is, are these values enough? Because the range is within these two values here, -90 and 90. Let us first get the values and see what you're going to come up with as our answer. So 3x equals 2, you subtract 6 on both sides. So I have 0 and I subtract 60. and I have here 240, and then I subtract 60 here. I have minus 120, subtract 60 here. I have minus 360. Then I divide by 3, so my x here is equal to 0. I have 80 over here. I have negative 40 and negative 180, you see. But what are the range of values you're looking for? Between 90 and negative 90. So between negative 90 and 90, which value do we have? We have this one here, and this one. Therefore, the answer is here. You have x is equal to negative 40, 0, and 80.